السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the Masjid Carpark podcast, episode 35. Please like, subscribe, and press the bell icon. And scratch your chin if you have
Sorry, just a bit of ASMR.
Yeah, because everybody wanted to hear you scratching your beard.
Yeah. Let me just move to the right and left. We should put ASMR in the wudu. We do the wudu area. You know how much money those people make?
That's why I'm doing this right now. We've got it.
Yeah,
We've got a new,
No, we got to get that microphone head. You know what it is? It's a plastic head like dummy. They put microphone inside the ears.
Huh?
So the sound that travels into the head into the microphone, it resembles how it would travel into your ear canal, right? So if you touch like the ear tip, whatever the sound, it sounds like someone's moving your finger here. So the microphone's inside. There's two microphones left and right
inside the head.
inside the dummy head, and then you got the ears. So it picks up the sound and everything like a real.
But what about food?
What's that?
You gotta have.
Oh, they're crunching and all that. Yeah. I mean, it's nuts. But anyway,
This person.
I'm not starting an ASMR
When
channel.
they're scratching, when they're scratching their face, they're actually scratching the dummy's face.
Well, some of them use objects, but then there are some that are actually they got specific ASMR dummy or something like that.
Okay. Now we're talking about specific dummies. Are you sure you want to continue on this conversation?
Maybe on my channel,
Maulana?
maybe on the in the masjid they introduced the microphone with the dummy with the ear. Ooh. And they start giving my darsa whispering.
We really need to make a podcast that's like rated 21 plus.
No, stop.
You open yourself up so much.
You'll have to become a Patreon member. That's for the Patreon members.
Well,
we don't have a Patreon thing anyway.
It's called OnlyFans or something, right? Do you have an OnlyFans account, Maulana?
That's only for one thing. That it's supposed to be like you get like special one, but it's being used only for one thing now. Apparently, like it's.
So what's yours called? Lata will check it out later.
Anyway, astaghfirullah. MashaAllah. How's your week been? Started with a beard scratch.
And end up with Maulana's OnlyFans. It always starts with your beard scratch, bro. I gotta let you know that. Astaghfirullah. My week, all right, last week, I think it was, oh my God. Last weekend we had the Maktab Camp.
Oh, nice. How'd that go?
Exhausting.
I say that after every camp.
Yeah, I know. There's no other
Complain
word
about
for
it.
No, I do. Right, and the thing
I
is,
think Wajid just loves to complain about it.
no. This time was actually next level.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Enjoyable?
Yeah. Did you enjoy it at least?
I did a little bit of it. I did it.
What do you mean next level?
Okay, just the amount of work involved.
Okay.
Because 50 people, 20 adults, 28 kids.
The thing is that you got to create a team of people who can.
I know I do. I was having that discussion with the missus as well. And I was just like, I don't think I can do this again next year. And she was like, if you do it, I'm not coming. So you do need to have a team. I think I take on too much responsibility.
Yeah.
It took me a week to recover. Literally a week to recover. I was just passed out.
How many
But it
kids
was
went?
good.
How many families went?
Many. 28 families, 20 adults.
Wow.
So there was
That's
quite.
why.
Yeah.
That's not a camp.
Yeah.
It's like it's a village.
It was
it's a caravan. It's a
yeah.
qafila, like a caravan.
I got some kayaks as well for that weekend. So I've got some kayaks now, so I'm happy with that. The kayaking was fun. There was one parent, she was extremely... The dad was chilled out, but she was worried about her kids all the time. So there's a boy that's the same age as my son. So they had life jackets on, they had the kayaks. I said, listen, go up that way, explore the river. I'll see you when I see you. And then I just chilled out. Half an hour later, this mother was freaking out. You got to go find these kids. I'm like, all right, she's actually really freaking out. I jump in the canoe, the kayak. I reckon I kayaked about 3 Ks up the river. Little did I know that they'd taken a little estuary off from where we started kayaking.
Yeah.
So I got to this, I pushed it. And then I got to this place where the river's flowing the other way. There was a lot of turbulence.
Yeah.
It was just hard work to get through. I was like, nah, these kids are way too lazy to go that far. I turn around, I come back, and they're just beautifully kayaking along. So that was good. Overall, the kids really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
That's what counts, right? It's done for the kids. They worked hard this year.
Yeah,
They did work
alhamdulillah,
hard this year,
mashallah.
mashallah.
And COVID and there's ups
Yeah,
and
there's a
downs.
lot of stuff going
It's
on.
nice to have some
Yeah.
normality and fun. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was good. A lot of, like I said, we went down to Great Ocean Road.
oh, nice.
So Princetown Recreation Reserve, my favourite spot. I think I've told you about that before.
No.
Yeah, it's an amazing spot.
Where is?
It's 2 kilometers from the 12 Apostles, literally.
Oh, okay.
So you can do
Nice.
sunset at the 12 Apostles, sunrise, come back to base, have a
You know,
barbecue.
sunrise, sunset, separate.
No, different sides.
Oh, okay. Is
So-
it east and west, the coast? Oh, yeah,
Huh?
it is. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, from there you can see both.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, just the way they jut out, you can actually
Yeah.
see both.
Sunrise in the west.
No, the sun rises. If the sun rises in the west, I'm in
fair,
trouble, man.
yeah.
All right, and went for a cruise the next day. Just went along, explored all the little bits and pieces that are along there.
Oh, nice.
We stayed back one more night, just with the family, just to recover when everyone left, and packed up and came the next morning. But it was good fun.
Mashallah.
Going
Allah
again
accept,
this
Allah
weekend,
accept. Yeah, I couldn't
just
do
with
that.
the family. Oh,
Another one.
yeah, this weekend. But this is just a family one with the
Yeah.
friends.
Sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, I've
Yeah, you know his
minimised
way
it.
of camping.
It's pretty glamping.
No. Sorry, not glamping. It actually has put me off camping.
No, because
No,
you've
ca-
been camping back in the day with me when we used to go to O'Brien's Crossing.
No.
You haven't
Listen,
been
I've
camping after that.
I've been camping.
Here we go.
But the way he does it,
Yeah.
see all this negativity, complaining, number one. Number two is like, it's like a project.
Yeah.
And for me, this is like a thing. See, I just purchased a full drive.
Here we go.
And
Here we
I
go.
just want to go out country and I want to hang out in the country.
Yeah,
and
look,
stuff.
I agree with you there that with my camping, especially when I go with people, I turn it into a project.
Yeah, which is
And,
annoying.
Which
yeah.
is very annoying.
Which is just grab a couple of hubs, tuna, mayo, and
Yeah, no, that's not happening.
and
No.
do some like go do some climb a mountain, whatever, like don't
Yeah,
over.
no, I can't.
Don't
go-
complicate it.
I
Don't
can't.
complicate
I
it.
can't. The food has to be good. I can't do a couple of.
No,
cooks
do
and
good
tuna.
food. But I'm just saying, like, at least put the bar down a bit, and then you get an esky, and Eve one night. That's what I'm thinking about. One night, do a proper camp, like a nice. Just go out. I just want to go by myself.
Yeah, go.
Because the full drives, like, it makes me want to go. It makes me want to go out bush.
It's amazing. It's
Yeah.
it's actually mashallah. You saw it, yeah?
Yeah, mashallah.
It's a
It's
good
made
four-wheel drive.
for full driving, like
It is
proper
ma-
full
it is
driving.
a
I
proper
actually
full
need to have a dars on all the buttons. There's a lot of buttons in there.
Mashallah.
This is like, it's made for proper. Like it will go onto the beach. It will go.
It'll go everywhere. No, it
Yeah.
will go everywhere.
But I just want to go out and just camp by myself.
You know where you
And
go? For that one, go to Mount Franklin Reserve. It's
Where's
near
that?
Dalesford, not too far. You're basically camping in the mouth of a volcano,
Okay.
right? And you're in the
You know what
crater.
scared me?
What?
That guy, the couple that lady
Oh,
and man
yeah.
went missing last
When they-
month.
yeah.
Was it last month or last year?
I think it was last month. They
No,
went missing.
It's
and
a while
and-
back, but
and
they're sort of investigating it, and
yeah, but they found them both.
the tent was burnt and they
yeah.
disappeared.
Oh, that was
they-
the pilot.
The pilot,
Yeah,
it was a
they
pilot
found
that
the
did
full
It was
drive.
the pilot.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, just when I bought a full drive, I saw the guy full drive getting pulled out of this pilot's garage or whatever. Like he apparently took their full
No,
drive.
but if you, depending on where you go, some places, I suppose you could go by yourself. Other places, you just want to take a tent and chill out. My thing is now, the camping is no longer a project.
Yeah.
Because I agree with you, especially when I'm taking people.
Just
out.
go if you go in the afternoon, go for the night, enjoy the stars,
See, my
make
thing
a
is
fire,
when
make
I
zikr,
no, that is
you know,
if I'm by myself. You
scare
know,
yourself with
You know who I do that
scare
with?
yourself with gin.
you
Don't
know
go
who I
for-
do that with? I do that with Ronnie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you go with him, you can chill out. You just
Be
chill
one
out.
with a rainbow serpent from the sky.
Says the guy with the OnlyFans login.
Like you start meat. What's a bunyip?
Yeah, it's when,
Which is
it's
which I believe is their word for gin.
Yeah.
That's like a gin story.
for me, when I take new people, I'm always turning it into a project. I know that's my flaw, and I really realized that this time. It's still fun, still had fun. However, it was just hard work. But this time, I've learned to simplify now.
Yeah, this is why I'm going to do my own thing. I'm not listening to him. I'm not going to your places. I'm just going to find my own stuff.
gonna be hilarious.
Just have a little tent.
Yeah.
And
So we
at
look-
most I'll
look
take
out-
one of my sons with me and just
Bro, you can't go by yourself.
huh?
You can't go by yourself.
Why not?
That's just weird.
What's so weird about that?
Sitting out there,
Solitude.
you're going to freak out everybody else in the campsite. They're just going to be like,
I'll go to a place where there's no one there
okay, that makes it better.
in the
How?
dark.
Like,
My lights just to the dark.
okay, you pull up to a campsite. you're with the family, kids, whatever, and there's a guy by himself.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
That is a bit weird.
Yeah, midlife crisis.
No.
They could be thinking
No.
he's having a breakdown.
No.
The rat race has got to him. You know.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, they're looking. Madrasa got too much.
Because that's what everyone's gonna think. Oh, poor Maulana.
Madrasa got too much.
Too much for him.
The madrasa was way too much. That guy.
He's just
He
putting too
couldn't
much
take those
into it.
Maktab kids anymore.
He's just putting too much into it.
No, alhamdulillah. No, but I'm going for a road trip with my sons. Inshallah, if Omicron is, Allah knows best.
Let me explain Omicron.
No, we'll get to that in a sec.
COVID
But let me explain.
and Delta met, got married, and had a baby.
Yeah,
Omicron is a product of that.
yeah. So
Why did your accent just change then?
I don't know.
to sound more
Did it?
sophisticated,
Oh,
Australian accent doesn't do it for.
Omicron had a baby.
Yeah. No, I'm going to Sydney, inshallah. I'm going to Canberra. Check out see ScoMo. No, because just to drive all the way to Sydney is a bit too much. So maybe visit one of my teachers there. Just booked a hotel, $150 a night, whatever. And
Damn.
camping. I'm going to camp in a hotel.
And this is the same guy that goes, I'm just going to take my tent, go somewhere by
This is
myself.
my first trip in a long time. So I'll go there. Stay in a hotel
That's
for the
right.
night.
Last year's
In
trip
the
was
morning,
cancelled,
just
right?
do a drive of Canberra. Yeah, there's Parliament House.
Yeah.
There is one or two things to see. There's a bird house and there's a some other dinosaur thing. Anyway, there's 2-3 things there to see. Well, have a look if there's worthwhile. It's sort of like not a historical place, and it's not really doesn't have any scenery. You know, like Canberra doesn't really have scenery.
Canberra's got nothing.
Yeah, so
Canberra just sounds
It's
boring.
got amazing roundabouts. You know,
Yeah.
That's,
It's just one giant
yeah.
roundabout.
Yeah,
And
but it is the capital city of Australia, so it's something
it's
for the kids to see. Like, I've been to Canberra.
then
I've
from-
seen Parliament House.
And Sydney's only 3 hours away, so then Saturday, just a couple hours in the morning in Canberra, inshallah, and then go to Sydney. And in Sydney, you'll be, given the whole Lakemba Sharif tour.
You're going to take him to Sydney and go to
Heldon
Canberra.
Street. Yeah, they got to make ziyarah of Heldon Street and Auburn Mosque, which is amazing in Auburn, the Turkish mosque, Gallipoli Mosque. And, they'll, what else? Halal food. They'll enjoy, just it's a holiday. So, and Harbour Bridge, all that. Mate, if you want to go up the Harbour Bridge, climb there, it's like $300 just for, they make, in Australian tourism,
It's very
it's
expensive.
very expensive to do anything.
But Taronga Zoo is something you should check out. If you want the best view of the harbour
yeah,
and the Opera House,
yeah.
go to Taronga Zoo next to the Monkey Enclosure. I think it's the Monkey Enclosure.
I think the Opera House is weird for a Muslim to visit. We'll go visit it.
Why?
But for the architecture of the building, it's just Opera House. Like when Muslims are not really into opera, it's more about the
I was
architecture.
listening to opera the other night.
Yeah. So
Just moved
opera,
on.
it's not really our thing, but
Pavarotti.
but it's more about the architecture. 'cause
It is
it's-
about the opera.
It's an iconic building.
But that's what I'm talking about. Well,
Yeah, if you-
I thought you were going to sit with your little glasses up in the thing
So
and dab your tears when they're singing.
then on Sunday, hopefully, inshallah, everything goes according to plan. We're going to go up to the Katoomba. Katoomba, is it? Katoomba, yeah, Blue Mountains. So we'll go up there, do a little bit of full driving, and just some spectacular views there. So
Didn't you plan one last year, and then it got cancelled last minute?
no, that's 6 months ago. That was in Western Australia.
I was gonna say.
I'm still
Do
trying to
do
get.
you need a tent?
Huh?
Do you need a tent? You probably do. Just
I
in case.
have. We have 2. So
Okay.
yeah, if I need one, I'll let you know. Inshallah.
Got an esky?
No, so I probably need an esky.
After this, just grab it.
Yeah, inshallah. So other than that, so that's we're trying to keep it as minimal as possible.
Yeah.
When are you leaving?
After Jummah, immediately after Jummah.
This Friday.
Yeah,
MashaAllah.
yeah. So just Jummah khutbah and everything's packed, and we just roll out of Doncaster.
Yeah.
Roll out of Doncaster.
Yeah,
Sounds gangster.
yeah. So then
Are the kids excited?
So Blue Mountains, yeah, they're looking forward to now.
Yeah.
Blue Mountains, and then on Monday, so Sunday night after Blue Mountains, go to Campbelltown, which is not really because my friends there's madrasas there, so we stay there, and then from there we'll go to what's the next place? Because that's like sort of comes down towards Wollongong,
Yeah.
so we'll go towards in Wollongong and then go to Kiama.
Yep.
Kiama. But anyway, Kaima. And probably the New South Wales people are probably sick of that joke because it's Kiama.
Yeah.
And just, maybe there's some nice spots there. There's one of my friends knows the places and he might come with us. And so there's some swimming, sea stuff, So maybe go fishing. I'm not sure. Have a look.
Do you like fishing?
Not really, but, like just do it, Just it's a thing to do, So,
Yeah, nah.
so I don't mind it if somebody else is taking care of everything and I'm just checking the rod in.
My head in, man.
They're doing. I can do everything. Like I know how to. I can do sink. The whole
Do you?
works. Yeah. I used to go with my dad.
Was your dad a fisherman?
Yeah, he loved fishing. Yeah, it was weird.
Subhanallah.
Yeah, so we used to go with him. But
Did you catch anything?
Yeah, we used to catch sometimes, but it wasn't something like. I can't stand it. The patience. I don't have the patience.
I don't have
I love spearfishing because you can actually see something. Like with the water one, you're just sitting there. Like I get it.
And you're
But
just
the
waiting.
Lebanese brothers are sitting there, but they just. You don't know. There could be no fish around you for the next 100 meters around. There's no fish, and you're just like shooting in the dark, sort of thing,
Yeah.
But but you could have like with spearfishing. That was unbelievable. That was like you're there, like you're like hunting.
Where did you do spearfishing?
Black Rock.
It's like another world.
When with the
Oh, you know who I went with?
who?
Faris, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I went with a brother there as well. We went snorkeling
Yeah.
and spearfishing down there.
It's like
Don't know.
another world when you go down there. It's
Yeah,
just
it's a cliche, but it's true. And then that hunting element into it,
Yeah.
and you like zoned out, like you forget everything. When you're spearfishing, you forget everything around you, and it's pretty cool. So fishing thing is like just there. If there's guys that are going fishing, then it could be just added on. There might be good fishermen, so make sure we catch something, make it worthwhile. Then
They're going to fish, you're going to cook?
no, I'm a guest,
Yeah, I
so.
can't imagine you cook.
But what was the last one? I was reading a few years ago, Kaima. They had what do you call it? This guy was walking his dog or something, and he found this like 3 kilo ball of amber,
whale vomit.
amber,
Subhanallah.
and his dog was like doing, and it had a very strong smell. So basically, amber,
worth
as for those who
millions.
don't know, but it's also illegal to trade in because it's a protect because
Really?
whales are protected, right? People kill
Yeah.
whales to get that. So it's basically, it's like a giant furball, like a
They just cough it up.
yeah. So what happens is the whale eats like squids. The squid beaks, they get stuck in his throat and they accumulate like into a furball, like a cat's furball, and then they like vomit it up, and then it floats on the water, but it keeps on because in the sun and the sea it like sort of hardens,
Yeah.
and then it comes like floats on the beach. Now that
Isn't it the oils that that's what
it's
they're
worth
after?
$1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, but from that.
They make perfume and this, that,
Yeah, it's got a specific. Now they make ambergris. I think it's a chemical it's artificial one that they use. But I'm hoping to find this ball of.
Yeah, but if you find
maybe
it,
I'm
can
gonna
you sell
go
it?
just with that niyat maybe.
But if you find it, can you sell it?
Yeah.
Well, there are laws protecting because it's protected species and all that sort of stuff.
You can't go. You can't hunt them or actively go looking for it. But if you find it, you can sell it because there's
There's
plenty of
probably
people that have
something,
done
but
that.
there's probably like a process
There's
to
a
it
process,
because it's not so straightforward because you can get in trouble for having it. It's like having a tusk.
Yeah.
I was walking through the African jungle and found this pair of tusks.
Next minute, Maulana's on the news.
Exactly. So
Madrasa got too
it's
much
one of
for
those
him,
sort of
so he
things.
went and killed a whale.
So Kaima, I just want to go there just because I read that article so many years ago and just want to try my luck.
Inshallah.
Yeah, but people find that along the New South Wales, the eastern coast,
Yeah.
that from the Pacific Ocean, they find stuff that floats onto the beach. But anyway, let's see. Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Yeah. So that's hopefully my trip, and then just drive back to Melbourne. So it's like a 4 or 5 day trip, inshallah. Yeah.
That's full on.
Yeah. There's a restaurant.
That's a lot in 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
That's a lot. You're fitting
That's
that
Blue
over like a couple
Mountain,
of weeks. Like 2 or
Kaima,
3
Blue
weeks.
Mountain, and Sydney. That's it, 3. Yeah.
in 4
And
or 5
Canberra,
days,
4
yeah.
4 days. 5 days. I probably need 4 or 5 days.
Is there a time limit for you to come back?
Yeah. I got like basically I'm going after Jummah and make sure I get back before next Jummah. So that's because I got to do next Jummah khutbah.
You got about 6 days technically. That's
So
your-
he's
but I'm
going
trying-
to roll in from Sydney,
And
from
then
Kayama with his
Amber.
whale furball sitting on the bonnet on the roof, straight into Jummah khutbah.
Just like give it to brothers. Incriminate all the Muslims. It's Tahir. I mean, it's in process in the sea. Anyway, Omicron.
What are we going to say?
Firstly, we need to say, it's Omicron.
Not Omicron.
Not Omicron, not like the Indian guys listened to before. Omicron. Omicron. He kept on calling that. He said it like 5 different ways in one 4-minute video.
Omicron.
Omicron.
Okay, you know that's sticking, right?
I know. Omicron.
I thought it was Omnicron.
Omicron? Omicron.
Well, if it's spelled O-M, and there's no I, so
we don't know.
Omicron. Are
Omicron.
you seriously checking this?
I'm checking it because I. Bismillah.
It turns out it's Omicron.
It's Optimus Prime.
Optimus, that's the next variant.
Yeah, that's according to Lata.
Omicron. Yeah, I was right. Omicron.
MashaAllah.
Omicron.
Cron.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was right.
It is
I
what
spelled
it is,
it wrong,
man.
though.
We just need to get over it.
The R is in the wrong place. Yep.
Okay. Do you feel better now?
Omicron. Okay, so we've got the name right. They don't know still. It's mild symptoms.
Yeah, that's what I heard as well. It's more virulent, but like it'll spread quicker.
Yeah.
In Delta, however,
but we don't like. They don't know. Like they don't. Allah knows best. It's a new thing. It's never happened in history, mankind.
Well, that's what they said about COVID.
Yeah, well, this is COVID. This is part of COVID. This is still, Yeah. So we were reading a little bit about the Spanish flu. Did you read up on it? Spanish flu, in after
1919.
Yeah, 1919 till 2019.
From amazing. Texas.
That's where it started.
Yeah, and these GIs took it over during the war.
It's amazing how the Spanish copped it.
They were the ones that were keeping records.
Yeah, and then because of that, they got the name.
Like this will be called the China flu.
Nah, it's called COVID.
I think we're a little bit more woke now, so
sorry.
we're going to be sensitive.
No, according to Donald Trump, the China virus.
Yeah, Kung flu. Yeah. But he called it Kung flu.
Kung flu.
That's an old one. So
that's the first time I've heard it.
But if you look at the Spanish flu,
the
Spanish flu killed 50 million people. I mean, also you have to understand those time hygiene was less. Antibiotics probably not developed the way they are now.
But that's still
the treatments were not.
That's still like. What was the population?
1 in 20. It was about
1
1 billion
people, and that's 50 million. That's
out of every 20 people, 1 person died. That's like shockingly, that's like in our Jummah, that's like.
Why are you relating that to your Jummah?
I'm just saying, imagine in my mosque, in one local mosque, there's like, 5, 5 times 5. So what is it? 25 people died in the mosque. That's a lot for that small community of 500 for Jummah. That'll impact every family and so forth. So Spanish flu was around the world. It killed that many, and they had the same sort of thing: social distancing, masks, and so forth. But I think medicine and all those things that were not developed, definitely they were very basic level, and hygiene was very
very
basic as well. So obviously, there's many factors that probably played into it. But it's interesting what happened after it, and basically,
the recovery of the world. It was.
Yeah.
Can you see a comparison?
I don't think we can. I think you'd only compare it.
Too early.
It's too early. Yeah, we're in it. We're still in it, so it's hard to. So what they had was so the 20s is when they recovered, like 21, 22. Then they had what's called the French called it the crazy times or something, and in English world it was called the Roaring 20s. They had different names for it, but basically people lost the plot.
Yeah.
They basically they survived World War I.
Yeah. Then
number one. Then they survived the Spanish flu.
Yeah.
And whatever else was happening in the world, and then they just unleashed their nuffs, and opiates was like the heroin, opium, all the different types of opiates they had. Some I'd never heard of before, but basically everybody was on drugs, and
not everybody.
It pretty much permeated society.
Is that right?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. So people just
everybody was just partying.
Yeah,
it was just a giant party.
Like all the sort of one is the 60s. Sorry, the 60s, the sexual revolution, what they call sexual revolution, and Woodstock and all that sort of stuff. That's like a huge shift in Western civilization, and it affects the whole world.
Yeah.
But the 1920s was the first
The first step.
that was like the first time they.
So if 20's first time, 60's second time, what? This is the third step. Where are we
No,
moving to?
then there was the 90s as well.
Yeah.
With you know, the
It sort of
the
plods
Cold War.
along. Yeah.
So the repercussions of the Cold War. Then
Yeah, but there
90s
wasn't
were-
such a huge party after. Like it wasn't
In the
such a big
90s?
thing. Yeah.
Nah.
Even with the fall of the Berlin Wall,
I
there
think
It was
there
gradual. It was very
Yeah.
slow, and then
I
it
think
cold.
you guys just don't notice it because you
No.
live through it. But if you
No, that's why we
no,
noticed.
we-
like,
look at the
it
comparisons
wasn't-
of the 90s, right? So in the 90s, the things that you could do and say in a classroom versus now, it's like day and night.
What do you mean?
Yeah, he's talking about being politically correct and woke, but we're talking about partying
Yeah,
or
because
the world partying.
because everybody.
Yeah.
Well, I don't
There
know
wasn't.
about
There wasn't
partying,
really
but it was
much.
just
I think it
Nah.
was pretty.
like there was like a shift. Though.
Even during the fall of after the Berlin Wall, it was like for a couple of weeks, and then everyone just got over it, and moved on.
Yeah, I think 80s and
That was
90s
in
was
the
pretty
80s, yeah.
normal.
It was
even
just big hair.
Even the 2000s, huh?
It was just big hair.
2000s, it was
no,
like it wasn't.
I reckon
I
90s was
and
a
happy
party.
pants.
think when the internet really took off,
Yeah, the internet. is
that's
also
made
another,
a like good internet, not like
like dial up.
huh?
The
You know,
dial-up.
I used to be able to get free dial up. Like it wasn't free.
Wow.
I kind of hacked the system.
like
Back then, it was
Yeah,
amazing.
it was a big.
yeah, it was a big deal.
We were with a company called Alpha Link.
dial-up is.
Yeah,
How did we do it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I imagine
And
You
we
guys
went
sit
to
there and you're just waiting for this picture to load, and it just takes forever.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
I think
Prop-
yeah.
no.
I don't want to know.
Not what you,
I don't want to know.
not what you're
We don't wanna-
thinking. Not
yeah,
what you're
yeah,
thinking.
BBC News really.
I actually used to read a lot
Yeah,
of news.
yeah.
Like I'd say to you on the podcast, I was waiting
Yeah,
for this
so-
picture to load,
So
But
the
you just
Roaring
did-
and then I had
'20s.
to press escape.
So we could go through the Roaring '20s again.
Yeah.
I mean, they've done. People just do whatever they want anyway.
Yeah.
Like most
the,
things.
the
are,
world's over it now.
like, is it like they see? This is where you have in America that what do you call them? The when they went like really hardcore in reverse, like
What?
became more stricter. Like you had the prohibitions, remember? Like
Yeah,
in South
yeah.
America,
Yeah.
also, there's always like a swing between becoming excessively liberal,
Right and left.
and then they go back into like
Extreme right
making
and extreme left.
So it's not just right and left; it's more about like being conservative, like
Yeah.
just losing the plot and then regretting it, and then making tawbah, like trying to, and then do it over the top. Like they went
Yeah.
like,
But I don't think we're not at the stage of we've lost the plot next level.
you reckon?
No, not compared to the 20s.
Yeah.
I mean,
we're not even close.
It's
So-
like what
so-
Mullen
so-
said.
so-
It's too early.
Yeah, yeah, it's too early. We're still living through it. So how will this pan out? Like,
I
is,
think
is,
another
is
couple
there
of
another
years-
variant will come and just kill like 90% of the people? You know, so yeah.
Mm.
I don't know. That was because I'm just
Yeah.
thinking about. I'm just thinking about the whole variant thing and Omicron. And then the
Omicron.
next one and the next one. I'm over it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
it'll just keep mutating. I mean, that's
That-
pretty.
They're predicting that by there's studies or whatever they've done, worst case scenario sort of stuff. By the end of January, early Feb, there'll be 200,000 cases per day in Australia.
So that means basically the whole population.
Yeah, the good thing is that most people are vaccinated, like 94. There'll be breakthrough cases. Number one, meaning the people that are vaccinated, they might cop it as well. But yeah, it's unknown. Like we don't know what next month. I'm just hoping my holidays don't get wrecked this Friday.
As long as it
in
doesn't happen
Europe,
on
they're bringing
Friday.
restrictions back in again.
Are they?
Yeah, because the case is out of control. In US, it's out of control.
Yeah.
You know, they don't know what to do because people are fed up with lockdowns and so forth.
But isn't
then,
Europe vaccinated though? Double vaccinated? Like,
yeah, they're doing boosters and everything.
So then what's the problem?
But the Omicron's just spreading.
So was
The problem is like if
I'm
you
not being an anti-vaccine.
no,
just
the problem is like letting it run through the population. This is the issue. If this virus is mild, let's say this variant is mild, it
Yeah.
came out of the probably Delta or whatever. It's like, you know, it keeps mutating, right?
Yeah.
All right, this one is a mild form. If you let it run through the population, you increase the chance of more variants because of the different circumstances, different things that it encounters along the way.
Yeah.
What happens if it triggers a new variant?
That's
That's
deadly.
the biggest problem. The problem is that trying to control it now, they got to control it. They got no choice because if they just let it run through, all right, it's mild. That's what we're saying for now. We don't know yet, like actually how the next month, because young people are copying this one as well. There's a difference between
I
the other
actually
ones.
know very little about Omicron.
Yeah, I was reading a little bit about it. I was watching a very reliable source, Fauci, and some. I'm just joking, but I was listening to different doctors. You know, the ones that are sort of downplaying it a bit, the one that are, but it's too early to tell. I'm not watching stuff because everything. Look, you see how many stuff videos come up that's from 3 weeks ago. That's out of date.
Yeah.
Because that was like right at the initial. Like nobody knew what this is and what it's going to do. So I'm watching the last 24 hours or 12 hours. Videos doctors are releasing, so for what they're saying, because they're studying the data and so forth, explaining it. So some are saying that this is mild, right? It's mild, it's like a flu, and it seems to be milder, but more infectious, right? This is so that everybody can agree on. Now, what does that mean, like in a month's time? Like, you know, and of course, how this will hit the vulnerable, old people and so forth, which is where a lot of the people have underlying condition, when they cop it, and then how we'll react with vaccines, etc., etc. So this is Allah knows best. Only Allah knows, man. Honestly, they're trying to figure out. They're trying to model things. They're trying to think, but they don't know. And the risk is that by the time that it spreads, if you just let it run, which is okay, you let it run. But the problem is that what if a new mutation comes, which is worse than this one,
Let
Omicron?
that run.
No, but that one could be deadly. Like you don't know. Like there's people have definitely people have died, right? Yeah, in limited numbers, people have died from COVID. Nobody can say that people have not died. There are people that have suffered from it, right?
Yeah, we know that.
There are people that I know personally, my own family, that have copped it and they're not well after recovering from it. Yeah, and you know brothers that got copped it and they're coughing and so forth. You see them after 1 month, 2 months, they're not well.
Yeah.
So that is not like a. You cannot ignore the fact that this thing exists. It's affected people's life. Some people catch it, nothing happens to them. They go back to normal. But you cannot ignore the fact that there's people that have suffered.
Yeah.
Now, to not be worried about that because you're okay or I'm okay or whatever, you know, like my family's okay. Yeah, that's...
Your family, you think your family's okay until it hits you.
No. I'm saying even if it's okay. And the problem is that that's not the only thing to look at. You have to look at the vulnerable and the sick and so forth. So for that, there has to be a community-wide, you know.
But could you go through another lockdown?
Probably not. It's hard.
I
can't do it.
Out of all of these scenarios,
if I see Dan Andrews make that announcement, like I love the guy. He's my favorite politician, but I can't. I don't want to hear anything more from him. Just because I think it's 1.5 years is a long time.
If he stands up and gets in front of the microphone, you're just like, oh shit, here we go. Right? Like,
yeah.
This is the thing. I'm not against lockdowns. You know, we did the lockdown properly and all of that stuff. However, I don't know if I can go through another lockdown, man.
Yeah,
But you guys, when you say you can't go through another one, as in like, what are your? I guess do you think another lockdown will happen, or are you like, nah, it won't happen?
I can't see
I
another
think
lockdown
the way
happening.
Omicron is at the moment, right now,
Probably
not, because it's not doesn't seem that severe.
I can't see another
But
lockdown.
once if the hospitalization starts going, you know, people start dying. That's the fear. Like, if that really happens, if people die and the worst case scenario actually starts to, and that's what's happening in Europe. They're trying to prevent it now because they're modeling based on what's happening there and over there. And the US doesn't look very good either. But it's too early still. Like we're week 2 or 3 into it.
But with Australia, we're pretty like if we have just a couple of cases, we will go into lockdown. You know, we've done that in the past, so who's to say we won't do it again?
We can't do it
I think
again.
the difference in the past and
the
now is the
public is
vaccination,
over
the
it.
high vaccination rate.
And the public is over.
Yeah, that's
I think
another
that's a
factor
big
as well,
difference. So I don't think, and I think even ScoMo said that as well. I read somewhere today or yesterday. He said that we will not be like.
Yeah, but ScoMo was never into lockdowns anyway.
No, but he said something yesterday, and I think generally New South Wales but the thing is, they can say that because people who said that, like Boris Johnson and other people, you know, UK, they talk that same talk, rhetoric, and try to get everybody going, the economy going, and all that sort of stuff.
And then they're backtracking.
And then they had to backtrack because things hit the fan, and then they had to put lockdowns.
What hit the fan?
The stuff, COVID hit the fan. You know, COVID splattered all over England, you know. Then they had to do exactly what we said, oh, look, they're not doing it, we're doing it. The United States, I believe, doesn't care about its people. I don't think we should ever look. They don't care about human beings. Like the way they label
poverty,
laws, the way they run their country.
medical.
medical,
Everything.
just basic stuff like things that we take for granted in Australia or UK or Europe.
They got their freedoms.
You know, like it is. They got their guns and their freedoms. Like, you know, it's like so. It's unbelievable. It's an unbelievable example of just human greed mixing with, you know, like at an amazing level, like at a richest country or whatever, you know, most prosperous whatever country in the world,
Most incarcerated.
Yeah, it's just a weird country. It's like I was watching the police. Did you watch that video of the policeman shooting that woman?
No.
In the hotel.
What?
So she's working in the hotel. She pulls out scissors, right? And she's like behind the counter. He pulls his gun out. Like the idea of a taser has come into your guy's mind. She's got a scissors like this small. This guy pulls a gun out and he says, you know, if you don't put the scissors down, I will kill you. You know, it's like, and he shoots her in the face.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you're watching.
When was this?
This is yesterday, I think. It was like 12,000 comments on Reddit on that.
Yeah.
But like in Australia, that would be considered insane. The way he talked, like he didn't know how to talk it down.
It was just complete escalation.
Oh no, he was like he was escalating it along with every step was, and she was saying stuff, and then she came at him, but you look at the guy, he's got gloves, he's a big guy, she's like a 55-year-old lady, something like woman.
What happened to her? She just lost the plot?
Honestly, if like with those scissors, if he just did it like if
he just kicked her.
Yeah, he just kicked her. That's why the Japanese, like they have those long Chinese and Japanese police. Yeah. You know, for those type of things, they just have long sticks.
That could have done
just
it.
keep
That
it
could have
on.
done it. Just
Because
whack
they
it.
can't reach you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a just keep a long stick that's longer than the scissors.
But
We'll
could
keep
you
it-
imagine
What
if-
happened to this woman? Did she just
It's like
lose
a
the
wide
plot?
thing that they
But did this woman just lose the plot?
She seems to have be having a breakdown or something was happening. Yeah, I think she worked in the hotel.
She probably
It's like
just
a motel or something.
Yeah, she probably just just one of those things where you just
Having
had
a
bit of
bad
anger
day.
and you just lost
It
it.
wasn't a bad day. She was off her rocker. Like she was out of control then. But like the way that he, like that's what I'm saying. Like United States is really a country that you don't want to live in.
Or use
You
as
know?
an example.
And I can't. You know what I can't stand? Like
What?
because like it's their country. Whatever, it's got nothing to do with us. Sort of like we're culturally influenced by them, but it's it's when you meet Muslims from there who are arrogant about being Americans.
I've never met.
Oh, they know they're from the most powerful country in the world.
Really?
Yeah. They exude the full. Yeah, I'm like I'm American. You know?
But everybody
Really?
in America is pretty patriotic. Like they don't.
Yeah,
It's very different to
they
Australia.
do it. We notice it as Australians. We know, because firstly we just sort of like it's all right. We're both Muslims, like we sort of see, and they will
from the West.
always express their opinion. Like this is they're not humble about. Australians are generally Muslim or non-Muslim. They're just generally down to earth. They generally
This is live and let live. Like, just get on
they're
with it.
chilled out. You see a
Yeah.
guy like in a very wealthy suburb. You just see he's walking with his flip flops. Oh, he's walking barefoot into the petrol station.
yeah.
So all right, whatever, man. Like that's your thing, Like he's burning his feet on the concrete, but like he doesn't care. Like it's just like the way they. I was once sitting. This is a Muslim, mashallah. It was a convert to Islam, revert to Islam. It was an American Indian, and American Indian convert to Islam, But just the way someone interrupted, like Pakistani, and I guess it's some Pakistani brother interrupted or something. He came in the middle and he turned around, and he said, no, he was good, but it was like it was so stereotypical American Indian.
Yeah.
I'm talking to my brother. Give me an American Indian name. I'm talking to my brother. I'm talking to my brother. Don't give me a Big Bear.
Do you know what that means, right?
I was trying to think of something that's
He goes with bear.
yeah. I'm talking to my brother here, and you come and disrespect us.
Young Molana Little Belly.
Yeah, something like that. And
How's that?
no, but just the way. But they will never take like a back seat. They will never. They will always tell you what they think of. If you cross them or disrespect them, that's just always known. Like in a queue, Australians are generally more reserved.
Yeah.
And in terms of
I think you've said this before.
I've said this before, but anyway, he. So what I was saying, that America's nuts. Like it's nuts. It is. It's a crazy country. Their legal system is crazy. I mean, just watching those court cases, like you just watch an hour of their court cases. I mean, maybe watching the most extreme and egregious. It's a big country, a couple of 100 million people.
If you're an Australian and you do go to America, you will definitely.
You went to LA, right? And
yeah,
Hawaii.
Hawaii, LA, and San Diego. And before that, I wasn't really, patriotic about Australia. I didn't really, I was like, oh yeah, I live in a good country. But when I went to America,
Right, we live in an amazing country.
That's when I jerry that this is actually an amazing country.
Yeah.
Because the places that I went to, so the masjids that I visited was in Inglewood, and that's like very well known ghetto type of place, right?
Yeah.
And just
never heard of it.
Just the stuff that goes on there.
Sure, 2-pack.
just the stuff that goes on there that you just see that happens.
Yeah.
It's just
the disparity and the extremes in their poverty. I mean, Australia, we
like
have
you said, it's nuts.
not that level.
We're moving
and the medical bills.
Yeah,
They have to sell their house for treatment. They can't understand how we have free medical treatment almost.
Yeah,
like cancer's free treatment.
I
you have to sell your house.
I remember a brother asked me. He goes, what do you pay for medication? This, that, and I was like, pay. I've got a. I use this thing called
I've got a healthcare card.
I've got this thing called a Medicare card.
I pay $2.70.
We have what's called bulk billing. He's like, bulk billing, what's that? And he lost his mind. He couldn't believe it. And then all he kept doing was just asking me about how do I come to Australia.
And forget about that. Like if you go to like the Scandinavian countries, free education.
Yeah,
free
I couldn't believe it. University is free.
When I was at uni, why didn't anybody tell me that was an option?
In Germany, university is free even if you're an international student.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah. Right, if I knew that,
it's even
Guten Morgen. I live to Frankfurt, I'll be there.
Guten Morgen.
Heil.
Oh.
Does that mean hello?
No, straight up. I would.
It means hello, doesn't it?
This channel's going to get shut down tomorrow.
If I knew this back in the day, I would have gone to Germany.
Yeah. It's
like I'll send my son there if he wants to study. Well, go to Germany, mate.
But I'm sure there's a process because otherwise,
of course, there'd be a process.
In the Scandinavian countries, I think it's very similar as well.
Yeah.
But also, Scandinavian countries are very closed border.
Yeah.
So immigration isn't very
not
low.
for Australians, maybe.
No, I'm talking about general. Like in Australia, we've got high levels of immigration. So does the USA. But Scandinavian countries.
No, there's heaps of Somalians there.
No, it's just because.
In Sweden, it's hectic, bro. It's there's a huge.
What about Denmark? Denmark's closed.
Pakistanis in Netherlands.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
There's
Heaps.
There's heaps, bro.
In Netherlands?
Yeah, Somalians. Heaps of Somalians. That's one
heaps
of the biggest.
Somalians as well,
that's one of the biggest community Afghani refugees.
Wow.
Heaps of them.
What do they do in the cold, man, in winter?
I don't know.
Vitamin D tablets
from Somalia. Damn.
Vitamin D injections, drips.
Speaking of cold, we've got to stop turning this air conditioner on.
What? There's no air conditioning on right now, bro.
No, now it's okay. It's when we've walked
boiling
in.
Now.
It's hot.
Sweating.
Yeah.
Are you saying it's hot right now?
It's actually boiling. Before it's okay, but it's really stuffy.
What's wrong with you guys, man?
So roaring 20s, just like so. What are they going to do? What are people going to do in these 20s? They're going to lose their plot. They're going to lose it, and they're going to party. Is this what's going to happen after?
We're going to party like it's 1999.
Are they already starting that, even with Omicron going, like with the New Year's Eve?
No, it's not.
This Christmas?
No.
Are they
it's very muted.
Are they doing overdoing the Christmas?
It's very muted.
It seems to be all over the place a little bit.
No, bro. I was in High Point yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day? Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah.
It wasn't a Christmas High Point shopping experience.
No, not at all.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a Monday, Tuesday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it wasn't packed. So I know there's some people that are overdoing it with their Christmas lights.
Yeah.
Right? But apart from that, I don't think it's going to be as crazy as it's been in the past.
Okay.
Even with Omicron now, I've got a feeling people are going to be a bit more hesitant for New Year's Eve.
Yeah,
like I had to cancel my New Year's Eve party.
Yeah. Yeah. In Docklands. Yeah.
It was I rented out Etihad Stadium.
Yeah.
Still called Etihad Stadium?
Yeah, Etihad.
I don't know.
because I was going to have a few
That stadium has changed names so
100,000
many
of my
times.
close
Yeah,
friends
exactly.
over.
No, Marvel, isn't it?
Now
Oh,
it's
yeah, Marvel
That's
Stadium,
it,
that's it,
yeah.
Marvel Stadium.
Yeah.
You weren't invited just
It's
because
alright,
you might
it's
feel it
alright.
was inappropriate.
Yeah. The big, maybe I think it's a big internet event for Muslims.
What?
Is the Mohammad Hijab,
Oh,
Jordan
yeah.
Peterson,
Inshallah.
Dr.
Yeah.
Jordan Peterson
Did
discussion.
you guys both watch it?
I watched the start, half of it, and then fell asleep.
Yeah,
That was
okay.
because it was really late at night.
yeah. I watched the whole thing, and
Yeah,
I
I
watch.
thought it
How was
amazing.
it?
Thought it was really good.
I think firstly,
Is he
Jordan
going to read
Peterson.
Shahada?
No, Allah knows best.
Yeah.
But it was an interesting discussion.
Did
It
he
was
clear up Jordan Peterson's misconceptions?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. I think, and I think you have to give credit to Jordan Peterson. Allah give him hidayat.
I mean,
He's someone that is not. I think a few times. So for those who don't know, Mohammad Hijab is a famous personality from the UK. Mashallah, he's a scholar in. I mean, he's not an Islamic scholar in the traditional sense, more of in philosophy, and he does a lot of debates with the atheists. What's a famous David?
David Wood.
Yeah, so they had a famous debate with him, and he's coming from that whole speakers corner thing they have in UK, which we really don't have here. That sort of culture. They have discussion and debates and so forth. And mashallah, he's youthful, but also he's knowledgeable.
traditional, from a traditional sense? Or
I think no. When you say knowledge, he's not an alim, but he is knowledgeable when it comes to the philosophy of science and how that interacts with Islam. And he, defends the position of Islam against Christianity and atheism, etc., and so forth, all other isms. And he does a good job. He does debate more. He's known for that, doing debating and sort of like argumentative sort of thing. Jordan Peterson's format is not for that. It's an exchange of ideas. It's a more low-key, calm.
his thing is the other guy in the room knows more than me.
Yeah, and he's very humble about it. So you're not coming someone who's antagonistic to Islam. Yeah, that famous, because and I like what Mohammad Hijab's approach is. Look, you're welcome to any mosque in the UK, and he read Quran, and there's a few interesting points in there.
Yeah.
And he said, "Why would you read that to me?" Because I wanted to give you the full Islamic experience. And next time you hear it, you don't.
You guys know what he said was, instead of telling you what it tastes like, I gave you a taste.
Yeah.
And what did he say?
What did he say? I can't
Oh
remember.
man, I gotta watch.
I can't remember what
Because
he said.
he not objected. He sort of like questioned, like it is you're reciting to me in a strange.
He thought it was
language.
inappropriate. He thought it was not appropriate for that setting, and that's why he asked him.
The fear was, and sometime Mohammad Hijab got into that speaker's corner debates. Sometimes it was like instinctive. I think just because he spent so much time, and sometimes he got into that sort of defensive a little bit. But it was overall good, positive, and cheerful. And I thought there was some discussions that were left unfinished, which I found annoying. Like
what was the discussion that you think was?
I can't remember. There was something at the beginning, and then when he brought that Shia Sunni thing, like they were talking about something, and then it sort of I can't remember what it was now. And then he threw in, because after the Muhammad's dead, the people started. I mean,
was an
quoting him,
immediate split, that's what he
they
was saying.
split, and then they started fighting with the family of the Prophet and killed his family members. So that actually disturbed the flow of what Mohammad Hijab was saying before. So that's sort of, you have to like a few that happened. So it was sort of like not a smooth like thing, but I guess it's two people talking.
Yeah, you can't
so
really
jumping around between topics a little bit, but
Like, because we have smooth transitions on this podcast.
So, but I think, mashallah, Allahumma barik alayhi, I thought it was a good discussion.
Same, yeah.
And it was enjoyable, and it was nice to see him, a Muslim who's a traditional practicing Muslim, goes to the mosque and
actually can articulate himself.
his thoughts.
You know what I mean? And it's not.
Yeah, he went toe to toe. I would have still loved to see
Yusuf
someone
Hamza?
like Hamza Yusuf
and
I
said his name the other way around.
Hamza Yusuf or
What?
Sheikh Abdul Hakim Murad.
I thought Jordan Peterson was actually supposed to talk to him. What happened there?
I don't
Did they
know.
cancel
I
it?
think he got sick. I think he gets sick, and he's got some sickness, and
Who, Jordan or
yeah. So he's sick, and then the schedules don't line up and all that sort of stuff. So anyway, khair. But I wanted to just see. I really wanted to see that. I'm curious because
same, yeah.
whether people agree with his politics or views on certain issues, but intellectually,
Philosophically as well.
yeah,
Philosophically. When it
he's
comes to
on a different
philosophy.
level. There's
Yeah.
no one. The only other person in the Muslim world that comes even close to be able to speak English like that and understand the tradition that they're coming from, like, you know, because he's part of that tradition.
Yeah.
Is Sheikh Abdul Hakim Murad in the UK. I think they like two in our time, especially in the English world. They're two intellectual giants. Like they should be, and they are. They're recognised, and we don't need. They don't need to prove anything and so forth. But that level of discussion would have been interesting. You know. But anyway, khair, inshallah. I hope we get to see that as well. But maybe this opened the door to other discussion with sort of more the standard traditional view. And I think what was it called? The possibility of peace.
Yeah. You know, there's a part 2 as well. They're going to do another one.
Oh, okay, in the UK, I think when he's visiting the UK or something.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
On Mohammad Hijab's channel.
Okay. Yeah, I would love to see the level of discussion to be a bit higher, like some of this, like senior ulama.
What I want to see is after that conversation, and then they have part 2 to see what ideas, you know, Jordan Peterson picked up from that conversation, whether anything changed in his perception. And it'd be interesting to observe that.
He could go like two ways. He could go into the debating and attacking Islam, or he'd be more, I mean, that's only two ways he can go.
Yeah.
I don't think he's the type of person who'll stand where he's at the moment. So he will either accommodate Islam into the, like this whole philosophy of Judeo-Christian, you know, they call it the Judeo-Christian tradition, which is not true. And they exclude Islam explicitly, you know, that as though Islam had no contribution to the Enlightenment or the West sort of rising and intellectually.
Yeah, but I mean, they know, but yeah, they
but they intentionally
when the
leave
West
it out.
was
They purposely, just by saying
right.
Christian Judeo-Christian tradition, they automatically leave it out. So, you know, I guess the victors write the history.
Oh, bro, when the West was in the Dark Ages, it was the golden age of Islam.
Oh, but to give him, you know, a bit of credit, there is the other way of saying, you know, when they combine those three, well, not combine, but when they're talking about the three religions, normally what I hear is the Abrahamic religions or the Abrahamic faiths.
Yeah, that's another fitna of our time.
Yeah.
That's another fitna of our time that's come. The Abrahamic, Diyanat Ibrahimiyya. This is in Arab. In Arab world, they're pushing it to certain people.
Just to you desensitize everyone to everything else.
It desensitizes the kufr of the Jews and the Christians. They're kafir at the end of the day. This is something Muslims have to realize. These sort of like.
But then what's Ahl Kitab then? If they
Ahl Kitab are Jews and Christians.
So
but they're still kafir.
Okay.
They're still doing shirk.
Yeah.
But we acknowledge that there's elements of truth has been given to them. They
Yeah,
have remnants of some truths. Like they have the story of Adam alayhi salam.
Yeah.
They have a story of Nuh
Yusuf
alayhi
alayhi
salam.
salam.
Exactly.
Well, the main prophets.
Yeah, so they have those stories, they have those teachings of previous prophets. So we don't throw out the baby up with the bathwater. So they acknowledge, regardless of their kufr, we acknowledge there's some truths that they have, which is to, so we do call them people of the book. Yeah, sorry.
Talking to the microphone, mate.
Yeah. So, but that doesn't make their deen haqq.
Yeah.
This is something. There might be elements of haqq in it, right? If they accept Ibrahim alayhi salam as a prophet, that's a truth that we can agree upon.
Yeah.
But if you deny the prophet, if they deny the prophet of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is their biggest problem, then that's kufr, right? If Trinity is kufr, right? Shirk.
Shirk, yeah.
So it's the Abrahamic faiths. No, they have a corrupted version of. If the Christian believes in Jesus, the Son of God, then they're not Abrahamic, by definition. Like so those Muslim groups that go on about, and big sheikhs from the Middle East, they're doing it. They're praying together with the Pope and all that sort of stuff.
What?
Yeah. They're having joint prayer sessions and all that. Yeah. So it's that in itself is kufr.
Yeah.
Because you are tolerating kufr. So that
was a big call.
Huh?
That was a big call.
Yeah, because you cannot normalize kufr, you know. So they're making shirk next to you and you're okay with it. We're not okay with it.
Yeah.
You know, we pray for their hidayah. Yes, we'll be cordial neighbors, be respectful, not cause disturbance to people's lives, like in the sense of, like, we will not cause harm, steal. Muslim by definition, someone doesn't harm with his hand or tongue. You know, this is something, guys, when we do dealings with the non-Muslims, we'll do with justice.
Yeah.
We'll not cheat them, we'll not lie to them. You know, this is how we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
So that's a separate thing in our dealings. This is talking about deens now. There's no unity of deens.
Yeah.
There's no such thing. There's no pluralism.
No, I mean, I only brought that up because we were talking about the
I'm
Judeo-Christian.
I'm mentioning that because there's a whole movement at the moment
Yeah.
in certain sort of intellectual Muslim circles that are actually damaging the deen. They're attacking the deen. My teacher put a tweet out a few weeks ago, and many ulama from especially Gulf countries have like expressed their disbelief at some of these quote unquote senior ulama who are basically going along for this ride, and it's a road to nowhere, really. You know, it's like just normalizing that you know, shirk.
Yeah.
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 Like you got your thing, we got our thing, but we're all good.
Yeah. This is not. There's no such thing for us. That's not a thing. Like,
Yeah.
there's Islam and then there's kufr. You know, like there's
Yeah, and that's it.
different shades of kufr and different types of kufr. But
It's kufr.
yeah, it's kufr at the end of the day, and that's something that we cannot tolerate. Yeah, we're not talking about living in harmony in a society and so forth, but that's a different thing. You know, like we're not there to. You shouldn't feel unsafe because a Muslim is in town, a practicing Muslim is in town, sort of thing. That's a different thing.
Or he's camping by himself on the mountain.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'd feel unsafe if I saw you camping by yourself.
I just had this image of all these like, you know, suburban white families and they're camping, and then Malana just rolls in by himself.
And
Everyone just starts packing up.
pulls out his hoops and his can of tuna.
walks through a camping ground. Yeah.
And then says, "Here's
Have
my
you
OnlyFans page."
guys ever experienced anything like that?
Yeah.
Like, you know, where you know people are looking at you and thinking, I'm gonna go across the road.
No. Oh, you mean when you're camping or just normal?
Whatever, just that experience of, you know, the fear
Yeah, 100%.
for no reason.
100%.
Yeah.
They look at the beard or they look at the cap or the sunnah when I'm wearing sunnah. Definitely that happens.
Yeah.
But I remember we were out bush once with a bunch of boys, and there was this guy by himself. This was in the middle of a river, nowhere. It was such a good night that night, right? He's by himself with his swag. He's got this little fire going, and he's just chilling.
Yeah.
That was scary.
Why?
Because we went
Just because he was by himself?
just because he was by himself in this secluded place, like under these trees. It just didn't feel right.
You know, there's lots of people that do that though, especially like bushmen. You know,
Bro, this guy was not a bushman.
He
That's what I'm
wasn't?
saying. No, it was just, you're just looking at this guy and you're like, okay, just be on alert tonight. I'm sure he was out just chilling, like Malana's going to do, but everyone's going to be praying tahajjud that night.
yeah.
Okay.
Talk to me, brother. Wallahi.
So one of the nice projects that's happening, I don't know anything about this, but it's the loop. We're having a railway
Yeah,
loop.
this
yeah.
urban loop. That's good,
Yeah.
man.
Whether we'll see in our lifetime or not, they said 2035 it should be open,
Yeah. They're spending what, between 50 to 100 billion?
which is nothing.
Are you what? 50
For
billion?
this guy, it's
So
nothing.
infrastructure-
Billion, that's
For
nothing.
infrastructure, like Australians, like
That's a lot of money.
apparently in the last 24 months, Australians began going nuts with infrastructure,
We have.
Yeah.
with projects, and they're getting everything fixed up.
Mm.
So this was one of the things that left in Melbourne, which was that for those who are not from Melbourne, we have basically like we got the CBD, and then we got like all the trains,
Like spider's legs.
from it. But all those outer train stations, they're not connected, like except through the CBD.
Yeah, they've
So
got
I-
actually literally.
So I remember when I was going to
go to
uni,
the city and then connect.
So from Box Hill Station, I used to like catch a bus to Box Hill Station, then from there or Blackburn Station,
to fill in the street.
and then to Richmond. So
Oh.
one of the out, like it's part of that sort of central
Yeah.
coming into the city, and
It's
then
like Richmond, North Melbourne. They're one of those stations where a lot of trains pass.
yeah, there's like two lines might meet. So you sort of have to do like a big V.
Mm.
So there's no direct way. So now what they've proposed is like a loop around the whole city, a train that will be at like certain hubs. So Sunshine, I think that's where it starts. Sunshine goes up to Broadmeadows,
Yep.
then out to Doncaster
What?
somewhere,
That's like east to west?
all
Yes,
around.
Yeah,
It's one
loop
big,
around
one big
Melbourne.
circle.
Yeah.
and then get down to Frankston, right? I think through Dandenong or something.
That's quite
like that.
impressive.
Yeah, so that's going to be this huge, massive thing. Now, what that will do is, like, people who come from the country, if they want to go to the other side of the city, they don't have to go to the CBD. That's the first thing. And apparently, like, in terms of providing, there's studies, I was reading the article the other day, in terms of, like, making fair for people,
Mm.
having access to, like, services, and
Medical.
different things,
everything,
so it'll make it more accessible for people who don't have cars.
Yeah.
Because now, like, you got that one train that goes, bus. You know that bus that goes from Frankston to the airport or something?
Yeah.
What's it called? That 9.
Is that a shuttle?
No, it's not a shuttle. Shuttle is just like for people that. This is actually a bus that goes.
Yeah, and the loop's going to go through to the airport as well.
That's right. It'll go through Melbourne Airport as well. That's another thing. So it's basically improving the infrastructure, transport.
It's actually crazy that we don't have a train that goes to the airport.
Yeah, I think
No, they've suggested it many times.
Yeah.
But you got to look at where the airport is first.
Even the location of the airport is just, yeah.
Yeah, it's in the western suburbs.
Yeah, it's just such a odd place to put it.
There's not much taxes being paid there. That's compared to like in Doncaster. Like
you want the airport in Doncaster?
No. They don't want the airport in Doncaster. They want to be far away.
First it's the beachfront, now it's the airport.
No. Doncaster, they were suggesting a rail just for Doncaster,
Doncaster
on
rail.
the Eastern Freeway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous like this for one area region. They were, but they were talking about how there was an interesting point in the article, which was how the overdevelopment of the outer suburbs, like constant development, new things being built, apartments everywhere. But then if you look at the inner eastern suburbs, the wealthy areas, they don't develop much.
No, they don't get touched.
And because the people are more educated, they're more connections in council, they know how to influence and use the connections to get what they want.
Yeah.
While the poorer outer suburbs, they don't have that access.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of factors that comes into this infrastructure.
And even these inner suburbs, their blocks are big. They don't sell and make plenty of apartments like what's happening in all these other suburbs.
Yeah, like subdividing constantly. And yeah. So, and that's because they have that control of council and like the people know their rights and they can chuck a stink. But while generally the poorer suburbs or not so affluent suburbs, they're overly, because they're actually overly developed. They constantly just knocking down.
Just look at the north now. Any block that's over like 500 square meters, knocked down.
Oh,
You've got four apartments.
Look at the flats in Flemington. They've knocked down all the walk ups.
Oh, have they?
Yeah, all the walk ups are gone. It looks completely different. Go have a look.
So what's there in place of the walk ups?
Nothing.
So they're not putting new.
Oh, they are. They're putting up private apartments.
Okay. So they move these people out and put up private apartments.
Yeah, essentially.
It is in a city.
Yeah, I mean, they probably just thought, oh, we can make some
serious coin here.
Serious coin here.
And build houses on which is fair. Look, that's fair.
At the time, I was working for the state government, and what I know was the way that they build things. These people are geniuses, in how they do things, right? So what they do is that land is theirs. They get a contractor, and tell the contractor, you build materials, labor, and everything. You build on our land. We'll lease it to you for 40 years and pay you rent. Wow. After 40 years, it's ours.
Ooh, okay.
Because it's still their land. So
yeah.
And everything's built out of pocket, no money that they forked up. The developer does it.
And make some good coin out of it as well.
Yeah. So they created a win-win situation.
What are you looking at on your phone?
I'm just checking that thing. The point.
Everybody, make sure your phones are switched off.
I was going to say.
Make sure the phones are in airplane mode. Put your mouth close to the microphone. He's just checking how many people are watching his OnlyFans page. Oh, you weren't checking that?
What do you
this is the one that there's an article mapping shows the gaps between Melbourne's haves and have-nots. I think that's the one.
But
is that it?
These gaps between haves and have-nots have been there since time immemorial, and they will continue to be there.
Do you know what it is? I think it's.
It is what it is.
Nah, if you like what Mullen is saying, if you understand not just your rights but how to exercise them, then you get what you want.
But you'll always have gaps between the rich and the poor, the wealthy and the non-wealthy, the private schools and the public schools. It's just
so this is what they were saying.
The way of the world.
There are other factors that determine access and wealth, including political and ministry power, as well as natural factors such as urban heat, islands, and canopy cover, which are increasingly important. Dr. So-and-so said, and all these things are better in advantaged areas. Poor communities in outer and hotter areas are increasingly suffering from overdevelopment, while affluent communities have the ability, influence, connection, and power to avoid it.
Yeah.
Said recently, an infrastructure measure, including the suburban road, will help shift some of the city's geographic disparities, but more needs to be done. Like this will help it so to even out certain things, but the fact is that the rich will never. This is just a fact of life that most people will not give up their privilege and comfortable position. Of
course not.
You know, this is and actually they will exacerbate it. They'll make it even worse.
And they'll fight to
the
keep it.
inequalities, they'll do it. Hence, the state has to come in and try to balance it. That's why it was very interesting today. Somebody asked the masala in the Shafi fiqh about zakat. There's 8 categories of people mentioned in the Quran of zakat, right? Faqir, miskin, those in debt, the traveler who's lost access to his money in the old days, even if he's rich. But if you're stuck in a foreign land, you can't get the boat ride or whatever it is to your country, so you can give zakat so he makes it home. A slave that has an agreement with his master to be freed, zakat can be given to him so he can buy it as freedom, etc. Like as a contract with his master. And there's these 8 categories. So it was interesting, the Shafi'i ulama, somebody sent a masala just only a few hours ago, then I had to check with some Shafi'i alims, and it's still under discussion, that you're supposed to, because it says give to people of each category, right?
Yeah.
So people means at least 3 in Arabic. So it's like a plural.
Yep.
So in Arabic, there's singular, dual, and plural. So dual, there's 2. So it doesn't mean 2, it means plural. It means a minimum plural, or in Arabic is 3 people. So you got 3 people in each category. Zakat is supposed to. Then I was like discussing it back and forth, because is this how we're supposed to give zakat? Like we're supposed to find all these 8 categories, and it seemed a bit weird. Like it seems a bit. Then realized that this is the state's responsibility. The state is supposed to distribute the wealth.
Yep.
Because zakat was something in Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam time, the Khulafa's time, Sahaba's time, when Muaz bin Jabal was sent as a governor. Rasulullah sallallahu gave instructions: collect the zakat from the rich, distribute it among the poor. It was his job to make sure that
The state's job, not the individual.
to look after the most vulnerable people.
So what do we do here in the West if we?
So let me just.
Yeah.
So then,
Let him
but
finish.
only realized. Then he started thinking. Centrelink provides for students, pensioners, single mothers, parenting payment. So it tries to cover all. You cannot say, we're only going to. Centrelink cannot say.
We're only going to cover the...
Because one of the alim, the Hanafi alim, he sort of said, what does this mean? Like, what do you mean? He's supposed to find 3 of each category, 21 people, 24 people, whatever, you have to find 8 times 3, 24, or 21, because one of the categories sort of doesn't exist in reality, practically. So now you got to find 21 people to give your 1 zakat, lump sum of zakat, distribute among 21. And there's also in zakat rulings, like, is it better to give... Like if you have $1,000 zakat, let's say you have 10,000. There's people they've said to me and like asked me regarding they got $30,000 annual zakat.
Yeah,
MashaAllah. They do. They're well to do. So do they give
That's 2.5%.
Like if you think about it, you're supposed to enrich the.
That's
2 point. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but MashaAllah, like they. So what do you how? You can give the 10,000. Let's say you got $25,000 zakat. You're a millionaire. You got $1 million savings in your bank account. $25,000 your annual zakat.
Yeah.
$25,000. Do you give that to one person, or you give $1 to 25,000 people? I mean, extreme examples, right?
Yeah.
So the jurists have written on this that the person can live off it for a year. Right.
Wow.
That you enrich that person. Right. And most likely that person will probably get on his feet. And he'll probably end up paying zakat as well. Like you're supposed to enrich that person.
SubhanAllah.
Like there was a case I was dealing with where that amount of money approximately were given to one lady that was in debt, severe debt, because of her ex-husband. Long story.
Yeah.
But SubhanAllah, like that was, and there's some things I can't mention, but it was given to one person, to make sure they get out of there. Now that person. Is like it's a huge boost, 1 year of your life,
massive boost.
And then that person, that goodness that they experience will not just translate in just getting the food for the day or surviving. So the jurists have mentioned, like they said, it should be like you should enrich a person. But when what happens when you get 8 categories? Then we started just a bit of back and forth discussion, and then realized, this is the responsibility of the state. These 8 categories, the state is make sure that all like Centrelink make sure to give for the students, for the pensioners, for everything. If they just decided, we're only going to give Centrelink until all the pensioners are taken care of because they pay the most tax, we make sure they're okay, then we'll move on to students. It doesn't work like that. You got to make sure you cover across the whole range and breadth of neediness in the community. People need help or whatever support. So you make sure that nobody's missed out. It's like a more broader thing. Zakat also works in a sort of similar way. Anyway, how do I end up talking about it? So then, and then the second thing I mentioned, zakat. Someone sent me a video. So there's some zakat sent overseas. One brother gave zakat, so we send it through a brother to his teacher in Afghanistan to orphans.
Yeah.
And there's a funny video I'll show it to you after. It's sort of funny. It's cute. It will soften your heart. There's all these kids sitting in the madrasa. They're little kids, they're tiny kids, like 8, 9, 10 years old, and they've got like the money in their hand, and the teacher's saying, "You got the money?" They said, "Yes." "You're going to give it to your mothers?" They said, "Yes." "And if you don't give it to your mothers, you're going to cop it." Something along those lines. And they said, and they like answered, like I can't remember, they couldn't answer that one. And then he said, "All right." Then he tells another brother there, he said, "Make sure you go with them, take them, they give it to the money reaches their home. We're going to check with your mums, make sure that your mums receive the money." So, but anyway, off the topic, but zakat, back to what the inequalities, evening the inequalities and flattening it. You say that it always existed. Yes, historically it existed, and probably like in agrarian societies, but the disparity now is not excusable because there's so much prosperity. But if the prosperity is being concentrated in a few hands, extremely, like in an extreme way.
Isn't this what is going to happen anyway? Because we're like,
But if you put the instruments, the government intervenes through taxation, through regulation.
The instruments of government won't intervene because
It already has. It is already.
To a certain extent, but like you said earlier,
it has to
the
make sure that
instruments of government are run by these people in power, by
not
these people
necessarily.
in these
No,
affluent
it's not
areas.
exactly. It's they.
No,
They will
I
try to
disagree with
influence and control, but
They do, and they win.
and
Not that I'm saying it's a hopeless scenario and there's no help for anyone.
yeah.
That's not what I'm saying. But you got to
You'll be surprised amongst even the uber wealthy. There are not every rich person is bad.
No, I'm not saying.
I think
rich
we got to
people
say
are bad.
that.
I'm
There
not
is a
saying
philan-
rich people are
there's-
bad.
There's no. I'm mentioning that to you like that because there are some assumptions guiding what you're saying there, and there is a philanthropic spirit in many wealthy people, the uber wealthy as well.
I don't disagree with that.
That
However,
exists. That's a
you've
real
got
thing.
The majority of people, like you got Bernie Sanders in the US.
No, like Jeff Bezos' ex-wife. She gave all the money. She
Did
gave
she
all
really?
She gave like 90% of it. Was it to charity or something? She stabbed. Good on. That's the best divorce ever that happened for the humanity. Probably.
Did she really?
Yeah.
She did well, man.
She gave it to charity.
Yeah.
Wow. Read about it. Like
Even the 90% she gave, she's still uber wealthy.
she's like 5 billion. She's a 5 billionaire, some 10
Yeah,
billionaire.
it's ridiculous. She's still the 6th richest woman in the world after giving away 90% of her money.
It's
Mind boggles.
But the thing is that the government does have a role in that. The excesses, the extreme excesses, like people should get basic health, education.
That's a standard.
These
That's
are
why
now.
that's not a standard in most.
I mean,
that was not a historical standard.
Yeah, we're very.
This is the thing.
That's why Australia rocks, man.
Yeah, so like you don't have like a poor person can be literate in Australia, be healthy, his health is taken care of.
Yeah,
and he's safe.
And can get an actual decent education.
Yeah,
and be somebody.
Yeah,
if he were, if they apply themselves at school, definitely.
Yeah. So those opportunities and to have a at least from a material sense, a life that is that their basic needs are met. Those can be achieved.
Do you think there's a level of discrimination in, or maybe not discrimination, unconscious biasness in Australia? Like if you're trying to get a job or if you're trying to,
there's definitely an old boys club or what school you were from.
Racism, like to leave some people, exclude certain.
Elitism is what he's referring to.
Whatever you guys want to call it,
Yeah.
just some sort of
I
discrimination.
I do think there
on
is.
some level.
That's natural, I think.
Natural.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like
if you go
like if you've ruled for let's say Australia has been ruled by white people for 200 years,
which
right?
is
the
case. Yeah.
Are we talking about white people? Like old?
No, we're talking about just generally,
Just
like
generally.
wealth. He's
Doesn't
talking
matter
about
if
wealthy people.
Doesn't matter if they're white.
Doesn't
black.
matter where they're from.
Yeah, well, that's
wherever.
one of the things. If you go in history, Clive, India, they call him Clive of India. The guy who, the British, the East Indies, British. He's basically set up the British Raj, right?
Yeah.
So he was never, even despite what he achieved militarily and economically, and he was probably the richest after the Queen, maybe the richest Englishman or something like that. He came from nowhere. He was never. But that's a very British.
He was never accepted into
that's a very
class system.
But they've got a class system.
That's what I'm saying. That's a very British thing.
Yeah.
But we have inherited aspects of it in Australia. We do have it, not so maybe.
We have a suburb system.
I wouldn't say we've got a class system in Australia.
We don't have that type of class, but
we have a suburb system. That's what I think. Where you live, that has a major impact.
Like you got the weird thing is the one that they were the disruptors. They become part of the elite themselves. So it's kind of like, for example, Richard Branson, right? So you know the way he came into Australia.
Yeah.
He said he goes, one of his like usul, like one of his principles. He goes, I look at the CBD. I look at the tallest building. Who owns the tallest buildings? Okay, this bank, the phone company, airlines. All right, those are there's something to take, like
those businesses.
There's some trim to fat off them or something to take from them.
Yeah,
like you can come into that market. There's enough to go around there. Is that they've just they're hogging the whole that piece of the pie sort of thing, the whole pie. So there's a piece we can. That's how that's one of his principles. Like that's how he looks at who's actually doing well. And then it's for them to flash it in public.
Yeah,
that means and when you do it like that, then that means that you're not doing it very efficiently, and there's room for competition to come in. But that's on a big level, like billions of dollars of industries.
So you're opening up a phone company, Molana?
No, there's nothing now in phones. Like,
we can probably do that in Somalia.
Yeah. And I couldn't start anything. Yeah. I don't know Somalia. Why Somalia?
It's booming.
This is booming, and it's
booming. So many guys from here have moved back.
Really?
Yeah, I know a brother who set up a telecommunication company in Somalia.
From Flemington to Mogadishu.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Wow.
Carlton to Mogadishu.
Yeah.
Carlton to Mogadishu, and he's now a restaurateur.
Yeah, he's got a chain of taco trucks.
He bought Spanish food.
Is that in Djibouti or in Somalia?
Mogadishu. He bought what is it? Spanish food to
Mexican food.
Mexican food to
no way.
Mogadishu.
Where did you learn Mexican food? Melbourne.
Yeah, from Melbourne. And fried chicken.
Huh?
And fried chicken.
He sends me photos, and it's
crazy.
So surreal looking at these Somalian women with their full black abaya sitting at a beach and just munching on tacos. It just doesn't look right.
And then you've got and then also what was it? He was talking about moving back here.
Oh yeah.
With the kids and stuff like that. I go, bro, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
What sort of lifestyle do you have right now? And he goes, oh bro, I've got the Caribbean lifestyle. Like I wake up, if I want to go for a swim, if I feel like it, I'll go for a swim. And then I go, okay. And then he's like, he's got maids
mashallah.
At home. They do all, mashallah, show all the cleaning, whatever.
When you have money, life is
and
good.
And I said to him,
it's everywhere.
And then he's like, oh, sometimes I've got a banana boat with the speedboat, so we'll take that out. This is like his normal day. And then I said, what are you having for dinner? And he's like, oh, we'll
DJ Khalid.
No, listen, no, he is. He actually
is.
Right? And I'm like, okay, so what are you having for dinner? And he's like, oh, lobster. I go, right. Now, if you wanted to do what you did today and eat what you want to eat today in Melbourne, how would it work out? And he's like, well, yeah, it's not like that. I go, and how many lobster do you think you'd eat lobster? He goes, oh, mate, like 10 people would share one lobster. He goes, here, I've got one for each of the family. And then he sends me a photo of all the lobsters boiling.
Mashallah.
Right, but he's a good guy, mashallah, very good guy.
But it's peaceful there now, isn't it?
Yeah. His thing was the
Shabab around, hanging around.
The bombing that happened the other day. I called him because I texted him. I said, man, how are you? Like, there was bombing in Mogadishu. He goes, that was the government areas. I'll make sure I don't even go close to there. As long as you don't go close to the government areas, you're fine.
Yeah.
So he's doing well.
And knowing him, he's probably paid off a few people, paid off Al-Shabaab, paid off this person.
Don't say that.
No.
He invited them and was hospitable to them.
No. When I spoke to him, he goes,
"You gotta speak the code, man. You can't say things like that." Yeah.
No, he's not. He's not. I'm
just. It's just a joke.
But when I asked him,
he was hospitable to everybody.
Yeah. No, they didn't turn up. They didn't come.
Oh, okay.
They don't come to that areas because it's not a government area.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's a completely it's like two different worlds happening. Like within Mogadishu.
The Somalia or just East Africa in general, because of that location with all the development that's happening, like East Africa.
It's phenomenal.
Like I was looking at what I sent you guys that link of that in Egypt, what they're doing.
Yeah.
So they're building like 20 cities, right?
That's crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And that whole, that the Nile, Ethiopia,
dam.
Sudan, and what do you call Egypt? So that's because the Nile, because they got that water,
Yeah.
right?
Well, Ethiopia's going to control it if that dam gets built.
It's already built.
Yeah, but they won't be able to. They have to negotiate with the Egyptians
Yeah.
because you have 80 or 100 million population that will overrun the Ethiopians. I'm just staring him. That's all. Look at him; he's getting uncomfortable.
Lata, give your uncle a call.
Ethiopians can stand in front of Egyptians. What are you talking about? No way. They're Ethiopian, but they just came out of a war. But anyway, no, I'm just staring. Just relax. There is some negotiation between them about the usage of the water and so forth, but. It's basically, that's the lifeline, right, to that region.
Yeah.
East Africa, which people are not sort of paying maybe much attention to, and plus the Middle East with all its development, like, with the Gulf states, so like it's right in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
All those things like improvements of infrastructure, roads, shipping, all those things will, like Australia, like internet is slow. Like put it that way, I'm gonna say like it's slow
Compared to the
US, Canada, like we're backwards. We're behind a lot of developments because we have such a huge country, small population, and we're not on the road to anywhere. Most of it is desert. There's nothing past us like this. We're not on the way to anywhere.
Yeah.
US, North America is placed like north of South America, obviously, and then it's placed east is Europe, west is Asia.
I got an A+ in geography.
Asia, it's like located in part of the world where it matters. It's on the way to somewhere. Resources are abundant. So therefore they're going to, like there's one Canadian brother, some Canadians came here and they were like they were like, you guys are behind. Like, said it like in the, that Toronto is like 10 million population.
The city, yeah.
Yeah, like Melbourne's on its way there as well, mashallah. I mean, in terms of net migration, it's getting there. But we're going to be overtaking, apparently.
Unless COVID hits and just wipes out 90% of the population, as you said.
Yeah, but that's going to be even between Melbourne and Sydney, isn't it? Or it's like if COVID's picking on us. Feels like that, It's like
Dan Andrews, man.
It's like someone's making dua, some hardcore dua in Sydney. Someone in the opera house,
sitting in the opera house,
making dua. I don't know. Because we copped it not just lockdowns, but the number of cases. If you remember, there was hardly anything. I don't know why there was, and their population is more than ours. South Wales.
Maybe we're more conscientious and get tested more.
But people are leaving Sydney and Melbourne, but generally the migration, the overall trend of it, like a decade.
Well, before COVID, you just look at that.
Well,
Melbourne
even now, as of last month, the trend is that by 2027, Melbourne will overtake. It doesn't mean New South Wales will, but Melbourne will overtake Sydney as the biggest city in Australia.
I can see that.
Mic drop.
Yeah.
Inshallah. But it will matter. Like that matter. But because we don't have like city, it's states that matter, right?
Yeah.
So New South Wales will always be the biggest economy for the next 50 years, 30 years. It will still have the bigger population because they've got all those satellite cities.
Liverpool, Wollongong, Newcastle.
Yeah, so we don't have as many of those
big cities.
Yeah, and we don't have as many of those. Like we have Geelong and Shepparton and
Bendigo.
Yeah, Ballarat, Ararat, and really not much in Gippsland. There's nothing in Gippsland.
Rye.
Yeah. So we don't have a lot of as much. But so as a state, there will always be if we live a normal life for a whole lifetime, they'll be like calling the shots from New South Wales in terms of overall like influence when it comes to federal politics. But when it comes to as a city, Melbourne is going to be, it's cheaper here compared to It's not cheap. It's cheaper compared to Sydney, and people are selling there, coming here. And it's weird because, like, I think from our perspective, the weather's better over there.
That's what I would have thought.
There's nothing. Is there anything extra that we have that don't have? Cafes. We have better cafe culture.
We have you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jazakallah. And we have and you of course as well, and Lada and Ahmed. But do they have like? Do we have anything that's? I mean, they've got the Harbour Bridge and in terms of attractions. They've got the Harbour Bridge.
They've got Sydney Harbour, Darling Harbour.
Even the
Darling
city,
Harbour.
the way it's set up, like with all the canals and all the.
It's not Venice. I mean,
But if you look at an aerial view of Sydney, it looks.
Yeah, the harbour. Yeah,
It looks.
that's something
mashallah.
we can't create that with Docklands.
Yeah,
No matter what you do,
Docklands
you
is
We
can't.
tried, and it was all right. It's okay.
Global warming might help if the sea levels rise.
Yeah, that we could have our own darling harbour. Yeah, up in Coburg. That's where his family lives. Yeah, we could have, but
Imagine that waterfront property.
I think like other than that, like in terms of coast, they've got more coast than as much. We have more. We have Port
coast is
Phillip.
pretty
We got
nice,
Port
yeah.
Phillip
I
Bay.
feel like you're very jealous of Sydney's.
Yeah.
No, I'm just trying to think of what do we
It's like
have
it's
that's
like he's
different.
missing out.
We've got Crown Casino, but we like what do we have that it's pretty much the same,
Got the,
but they got better weather.
We've got sports.
we have
I mean,
sports.
I think sports culture is probably stronger here than
It is much
Yeah.
stronger here, and we have an
Yeah.
arts
And
culture.
it's not just
Yeah.
the national sports. It's the international sports here, like the Formula
Yeah.
One, the tennis. It's a
Yeah, where's
Yeah.
Formula One this year? Where was it? Brisbane, wasn't it?
no idea.
It used to be in Adelaide, then it was in Melbourne.
Yeah,
And this
I've
year they
got
put
no
it. They
idea.
put it in Melbourne. They put it somewhere else,
did they?
or did they cancel?
Melton.
I'm pretty sure they cancelled it, didn't it?
Melton. That's one of the outer cities. The
Didn't they
The
cancel it?
buzz. The
Can you imagine if Melton became like an outer city and your house just like
Oh,
quadrupled in
let's say
price?
hypothetically find a house there, but
Hypothetically.
yeah,
Okay. Damn.
yeah, but yeah, the Melbourne thing is the Sydney thing. I don't like Sydney. the vibe I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm a Melbourne.
It's too rough.
You
It's
were in
just too
Melbourne,
rough.
yeah. It's like they call it Little New York for something. Now the Sydney people love it. They love the buzz. They love the thing, and it's good. Like good for a visit. Like
Yeah.
I like to visit, but Melbourne is home. I'm just used to it, and I like the pace of Melbourne, and even here it's getting a bit too crowded as well.
They're taking over, mate. Send
They're
them back to
coming
where they
getting
come
it.
from.
They're taking our jobs.
They're taking our jobs. They're taking our land. All these Indians that are coming over, mate.
Yeah, but they
They're taking our real estate jobs.
yeah, every real estate agent. They're becoming local councillors.
They are.
Yeah, there are heaps of them.
Wow.
Good on them. Like if
Yeah,
they,
it is good on
if
them.
you got to get up and go, and you're going to do something good for your community, hopefully, then
No, they do, well, one thing is
good.
they do stuff for the community when they get in there.
yeah, good on them. Keep up the good work.
Dan Andrews, they're going to start giving Dan Andrews a run for his money.
You reckon?
Give it 5 years.
Yeah. Oh, when they become more liberal and
next
more
gen- the next gen,
conservative.
yep, 5 years.
Yeah. Now they got to start
I reckon
somewhere. Start with Labor.
5 to 10 years, we'll see a difference.
Yeah. But the housing price, because of that, the net migration, the demand is high. Even though there's apartments in the city sitting empty, there's buildings empty
Yeah.
because no students and all that. But the prices don't stop.
They don't stop. Yeah,
Unbelievable.
Will they? Will they ever stop? That's the $1 million question, because you see.
it will. It's you can't
But
have.
we've been hearing this for 20 years.
The thing is, you can't have something that just keeps going up forever. It's just economically, that's impossible. It has to have
But is it?
yes. At some point, just everything at some point pops.
Yeah.
Everything
Will it
has.
be in our lifetime?
Allahu alam. Only Allah knows. But
Do you reckon another GFC is on the way?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? Why do you say that?
All the printing that they're doing.
We're back to that again. Let's leave that. Yeah. All right. Just something on a light-hearted note. Muslim lives matter.
Are you gonna play this in the video?
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
place it in the video.
Yeah.
And this is a brother who's losing the plot. I don't know where he's.
I think it's in America. I think.
I'll share it.
Black Lives Matter protest.
Is it? And it's just a Somali
So, what
guy?
so
Yeah.
you're gonna just play it, yeah?
Huh? I'll place it in the
Yeah.
video afterwards. It's going to be a bit of work.
You
but
become a good editor.
nobody else is going to do it.
Yeah, good point. Me and Lara just like looked at each other, going, "He's got a point. Shut up."
Yeah, it's either you got to pick up.
Why
your
isn't it
skills.
playing?
No internet. I
Just
think
1 second. Yeah.
it needs to connect to the internet.
Oh, so we're allowed to switch our phones back on?
No.
That's only for the privileged, Wajid.
Oh, that's right. The disparity. Some of us drive Prados now.
the class systems,
Yes. The Camrys versus the Prados
the non-Moliners.
versus the Peugeots. Look, he's actually not responding to that at all.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Any minute now. Yeah, let me switch my phone on. Would you like me to switch mine?
No, it's fine.
My Wi-Fi is better. Would you like me to?
No, it's fine. It's fine. I don't know why it's.
You stay where you are.
Because I never.
You are not going to come up in the Wi-Fi world.
I'm not because this is a new laptop, so that's why.
Oh, he's got to drop that one as well now. Look at that. Oh, okay, mashallah. New laptop, is it? Okay.
Yeah, well, second-hand one.
Yeah, but you got to. Okay, mashallah.
I couldn't afford a new one.
Congratulations, Maulana.
Okay.
Here we go. Password, guys. I'm reading it out now. 784 321 56.
Okay, it's a bit slow, but let's see. So this is an akhi, where is it, in the United States?
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter protest.
Yeah.
This guy's hilarious, man.
And he's
But he remixed it a little bit.
Nah, was it? Is it remixed?
It's remixed a little bit.
Oh no, he's remixed it. It's not actually. This is real.
Yeah.
That's what. But yeah, the way he's done it.
Yeah. You've just got to watch
But that's
it.
because he's losing the plot.
But he's it's like a slow progression of losing the plot.
Yeah.
He started off normal and just
How do you get there, bro?
I don't know. I think it's a crowd. Because if you look behind him, there's a massive crowd.
yeah, he's just worked up.
It's just hysteria.
He's worked up. Yeah. Let's have a look.
They find him guilty. I hope they find the other people guilty, the other police. Black Lives Matter! Muslim Lives Matter! Somebody Lives Matter! Black Lives! Black Lives! Muslim Lives Matter!
What did he say at the end?
Muslim lives.
I thought he said, "What's up?"
No.
Muslim Lives Matter, and then he just lost it. He was just screaming.
Yeah.
He's full emotional.
Yeah, but the crowd wasn't even behind him.
Yeah, he's just his own.
Yeah.
So
Like he's just
anyway,
he's just become a meme.
then there's another one, something lighthearted for change of pace. Is this the one?
The dua.
I mean, this is.
با شبکه 20 ماشاءالله ماشاءالله
And the fact that he's screaming out, mashallah.
Mashallah to the guy lighting a cigarette.
with a live
With a live, what was it? It was like
electrical cable.
yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, that's.
End of 2020, gentlemen. How are we feeling? 2021, I should say.
What 8 days?
Yeah, not
The end
long
of it?
left.
Yeah, so this is our last recording for 2021.
Thank you for joining us.
And,
being patient with
it was an
Maulana.
interesting year. Alhamdulillah, we did in the last, it's been a year roughly since we started podcast last year in November.
Wow.
So it's been
Has
one
it
year.
been a
We've
year?
done 35 podcasts,
Yeah.
on average about an hour and a half.
More like 2 hours and 2.5 hours.
Yeah, some of them, 1 hour, an hour and a half.
Because it just drags on and on.
And so, yeah, what's some of the highlights?
I think it's starting the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, and learning. Yeah,
When we first started, there was no pictures. It was
There
just
was no-
audio.
that's right. There was no cameras.
There was no
Oh,
cameras.
It was only audio.
Yeah,
Just
and going
audio?
going to pick up all these doors.
Yep. Spray painting them.
Yes.
Well, we didn't spray paint them.
I spray painted.
Ah, yes.
This is my
I'm just
beautiful
taking,
work.
I'm taking credit.
But painting the walls, we did a good job that day. Painting.
This studio was painted by all the brothers.
Peace out, brothers.
Yeah,
All right.
And-
And what else?
yeah. Just setting up a studio, the idea of a studio, and setting up a quote unquote a dedicated place for to recording. Hopefully, we do other programs, our
Inshallah.
friends who are interested in doing recording and create
Can I
a
do my
community
Can I
of
do a cooking
community
show
of
from here?
creators.
Can I do a cooking show here?
No, not in here. There's no proper ventilation here. Do it in your own time, in your own channel, in your home.
Can I do my OnlyFans channel here?
Astaghfirullah.
What?
Yeah, of course. You're just going to give,
You do.
gonna give him cooking tips.
You do yours here.
But but it's owned by the mothers. No, but astaghfirullah. But no, like we start off with audio. Just the idea of getting together. I didn't know 1 year ago, roughly. I didn't ever. I mean, I've seen him, He just looks like a sort of,
Another African man.
another random African Somalian, like he's just another.
Ethiopian. He's Oromo. He's Ethiopian. He's
I
not
know.
Somalian.
I know.
Okay.
I'm saying it on purpose to annoy him. Just look like another
Slightly
Somalian.
annoyed me, but
Yeah. Another Somalian brother. There's
No, just 'cause he's black.
generic Somalian brother. No. But I didn't know him. Alhamdulillah, we become friends, and we discuss issues. We have arguments, and it's good. It's good. Alhamdulillah.
We
So
filter out a lot of our podcast.
yeah.
this podcast has been
edited
recorded from
out.
beginning till end. We're not going to filter anything out.
You better filter the start of this out.
Yeah. When it says Assalamu alaikum, we'll start from it. But alhamdulillah, we generally,
Alhamdulillah.
we don't do much editing out. But to have started the podcast, the feeling was that we need to create an Australian voice. That's actually part of we had a few discussions at the start. There's some document I was looking at from our discussions right at the start. We need to have the Australian average Muslim voice, hopefully.
And you ended up with us.
And and we have an empty seat still for the fourth member.
Yeah.
We're not sure to keep it for the guest. Inshallah, we have guests in the future. We wanted to develop this further, learn how to do it. We got better cameras, better audio, all this equipment. Brothers, Allah reward them that they provided, lighting, all that sort of stuff. We still haven't finished things, so we're still working on it.
Like the doors haven't been stuck onto the walls properly.
which was supposed to be done last year.
I think it's part of the charm of the place now.
Yeah, not really. It
Maulana's
looks
got his-
incomplete.
we
to me.
do need to show the camera for your was it LGBTQI door?
Because I ran out of it's not LGBTQI door. It's a door that's multicolored because I just used the last bit of the spray can across it and just
You're gonna
happened
have
to
to put a
turn.
picture of that door on the thumbnail.
Yeah, it happens to look like a bit rainbowish, but alhamdulillah, we had to be able to create this podcast, and alhamdulillah, the many brothers that advised us.
Look,
and
a lot of this was driven. Should we give him the clap? Right, a lot of this was driven by you, mashallah. We just turn up.
Yeah.
So a lot of all the editing, the cameras, the mic, like mashallah, all of this was organized by Maulana Khalid.
Yeah, mashallah.
I think
I enjoy.
We
editing.
just turn up.
I think it's
Yeah.
he's a loner, but that's a different story.
Yeah, Jazakallah khair. I'm trying to teach Ahmed, but
Oh yeah, and
at the moment his job is
and Ahmed and Irfan's patience.
his
Must
job is at the
be
moment to
already
turn
working.
on the cameras. I do everything else. And but alhamdulillah, like we gradually trying to develop that skill set. It is a medium that I stayed away from for a very long time, especially the top projects, and it was a good thing to stay away from it. Like my background's in IT, so technical things are not an issue. But what it was is that like I focused on teaching on the ground, establishing real organizations, real project madrasas, maktabs, and so forth. And instead of just operating the virtual, because the virtual is here and you're over there wherever you are, but it's still needed.
We still
So
love
so
you.
once sort of those sort of things were done, then I felt like that, and I discussed with Abdul Wajid and even my channel as well, like in terms of durus and so forth. They're basically durus that I do in the mosque, but many people might not have the access. They might not be able to
Especially
travel.
during COVID. Like COVID was a big catalyst as well.
Definitely,
Yeah.
yeah. Right at the beginning, is like I remember saying to Abdul Wajid, like, the first time there's no recordings of me online, dars or lectures or anything. Maybe there's some rare place, but in a dark corner somewhere.
Yeah.
But there's no like actual dars, anything that I recorded intentionally online at all. And like for me, definitely not for myself. And then what happened was I was speaking to Mufti Tariq Masood when he came last year, and mashallah,
Was it last year or the year before?
no
It was the
last year.
before.
It was last year. It was just before COVID kicked in. Just before
Start of
Ramadan.
last year.
Just a month before Ramadan
Wow.
last year. So
That's
a year
right.
and a half ago.
He flew back and then everything just went into lockdown.
Yeah. Like he had to go early, remember?
Yeah,
His
yeah.
trips was. So he's mashallah, he's on a different level, like 3 million followers and this and that. And so mashallah, he's like doing great work. And I said to him, I was sitting in the back of the car with Abdul Wajid, and I just said to him, we're driving somewhere, and then I said to him, what do you reckon if I also do something, here? And he said no. And no,
Yeah.
he was no, because he couldn't see why there's a need for it. Don't be careful, this, that, whatever. But then once the COVID thing, and then we had no choice for the mosque. We had to
Yeah,
provide.
after that, there's no stopping.
Yeah, like so, alhamdulillah, like that was there. But then I felt like when we got to November, and we're really in the lockdown, like for a long time, I felt during the lockdown, you feel the disconnection. And I listened to a lot of podcasts, and podcasts are good. It's like listening to radio, like you feel you're part of a conversation. And I think a lot of people need that just to speak to normal blokes.
We all do.
Yeah, like just to listen and you feel part and you can comment and whatever. And we try to do once or twice. We did live ones, but we need to develop the audience further. And so that was sort of the catalyst for it, that, this is something, there's all these non-Muslim podcasts, Australians ones as well, but really we don't see, there's darses, there's serious discussions, but just to have a laugh, like that's almost non-existent. In Australian voice, I don't know if anybody in Australia's, like academic stuff, are there some good what's that really good one from Sydney? I've listened to some of this stuff, but that's very academic, very, mashallah, sort of like what's it called? Boys in the Cave. So that's more academic sort of it's still a podcast. It's really nice, enjoyable to listen to. As an example, there's Australian content creators, for Deen and so forth. But I mentioned this style of the Wajid because we're just discussing why in our tradition in Islam, the Sahaba Rasulullah said, do not sit on the roads. Like don't sit on the pathways. Yeah. And like sitting out in the streets and discuss and talk and things. Like don't sit out in the roads, like on the pathways. The Sahaba don't say, no, Ya Rasulullah, we need to catch up. We need to know about the news and this and that. Like, just normal social thing. Then Rasulullah gave them the etiquettes, like protect your gaze, remove any harmful objects from the road, enjoin towards good, forbid evil. Like even in your normal social discussions and laugh and family and friends and whatever, these things should be observed. And last one, to give salam. Somebody gives salam, give salam. Yeah. So these are 5 the etiquettes it's called the rights of the road or the path. That was one thing. That's putting the hadith. So the idea, the concept of that is, so Sahaba radiallahu anh didn't have a place to sit. So what they used to do was in the alleyways between their houses, that's where they used to hang out. That's the parts it's talking about. Yeah. Right? So that's where they used to sit and they just catch up on things. Just have a chat.
What an amazing image.
Yeah. Second thing was that it was Umar radiallahu anh, he had in the Masjid Nabawi, some people from outside of Medina Munawwara came, they were talking loudly, were talking about worldly things or other things, just having a chat. And he said, if you're from Medina, then I would give a punishment to you for talking like that, out of the the respect that's supposed to be there, the sanctity of the masjid, the hurma of the masjid. So he had a place called Batha built outside of Masjid Nabawi, like a courtyard. And he told them, go there, talk and read poetry, and like that's the hangout place. So there was a space specifically made catered for like the social life.
So there's those little courts that I see in like mostly Turkish mosques.
Oh, the idea of having a place to sit outside. I mean, this goes back because the Sahaba days. This is not something. Yeah, of course they wouldn't speak unnecessary things, and I mean you got to realize Sahaba were human beings. Like they're not.
That's true.
They had emotions. They were amazing. The iman was amazing. The amal was amazing. Yeah. We're very far from the reality of that, but also they were human beings, and they hence the social need, and there was human beings, the social animals. And the last thing was, of course, my dalil, these are my proofs, is that when Sahaba, there's a riwayah, when Rasulullah sallallahu is sitting Sahaba, they used to, look at the things they used to talk about. Because when you talk about dunya, he used to talk to us about dunya. Yeah. When you talked about deen, he talked to us about deen. When you talked about food, he used to talk to us about food, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Right?
Is that why we're always talking about food?
And lastly, he goes, they used to tell stories about the Jahiliyyah, things that happened in Jahiliyyah. Yeah. And because we used to laugh and he used to smile sometimes as well. Yeah. Like here, not the good old days, but the bad old days. Yeah. So it's like,
we're not talking about Jahiliyyah days, yeah.
So sometimes having a laugh, having a chat, having a thing. Alhamdulillah, like I don't feel anything that. Sometimes the feeling comes in the heart. I'm a teacher in madrasa, I'm imam. Then like this feeling comes that this is like maybe a thing. But Abdul Wajid knows me. Yeah. And this is very tiny.
And that's why I treat him with so much respect.
There's other brothers who know me as well. But this is like we're being very polite.
Very respectful towards
him. No. I mean, we're not to be disrespectful or anything like that. But it's like people, like a natural discussion and talk about the community issues, try to understand what's happening, have a laugh. There's some funny things, like those things that we watch with the brothers, they're funny things. Like that's not something, like they're just doing it. They're not doing it like to be funny, but it's just funny to watch, like things around. So I think this year, alhamdulillah, was a breakthrough year for us for our podcast. I think it's the first year.
Yeah.
We survived the year.
Alhamdulillah.
And it still shocks me when people come and ask, when's the next podcast?
That's nice.
That trips me out. So you listen to us?
Sometimes I forget. I go, what? Oh, yeah, you listen? And then
I know, it actually surprises me that people that
And
people
you know,
listen to us.
sometimes masail come up. We discuss some. It's not a fiqh or dars per se, but like some.
I like how you said we discuss. Sorry,
like
we have the fiqh discussions here.
Some fiqh things are there, like Islamic things and ideas and so forth, and try to mention that as well in there, so that it's not a total loss, you know. And I think one thing we don't consciously may do it, but we should say two things, you know, in the majlis that are the rights of the majlis. One is to praise Allah, alhamdulillah, and second thing says salawat on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I think those things we missed many times. I think we talk so much nonsense, and maybe we feel like saying it maybe is not the right place to say it. But sometimes we have to, we have to remind ourselves of that, those two things, because else the gathering that is devoid of dhikr of Allah is devoid of salawat on the Prophet. It's like sitting around a dead carcass. So we don't want that to be the case.
But what if my heart is always in dhikr?
Inshallah, Allah give you a heart like that.
And your heart is always in dhikr.
Inshallah, Allah give you a live heart.
What was the last podcast? He was surprised I prayed salat 5 times a day.
Astaghfirullah. No, Allah make us from the salihin.
Ameen.
I hope everybody enjoys their holidays.
Yes. Thanks for listening.
Happy holidays. I don't know what to say.
Merry Christmas.
No. Astaghfirullah. Don't say that. No, we can't say that.
Many happy returns of the year.
I think, inshallah, you have a safe holiday. Allah protect us from Omicron. Omicron, that's what they mean.
Omicron, that's the best way to do it.
Allah protect us from that, and the Muslims
and anything else.
And inshallah, we come, hopefully by next year when we come back in a couple of weeks' time, inshallah, that this was a false alarm.
Yes.
And that, inshallah, that it's not something, hopefully, inshallah, bidnillah, it's not that big, inshallah.
Ameen.
Barakallahu feekum. Yep.
Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, and press the bell icon. And we'll see you in 2022.
Inshallah.
Assalamu
alaikum.
Assalamu
alaikum. What was with the seriousness, man? Like he's put the head down like, mashallah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Should we have our fiqh discussions?